June. June, there you are. Hi, June. Hold on, let's see. I'm gonna make you a host so that you can share your video.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm in the presence of such badasses. Thank you so much for including me in this powerhouse.
Thank you. And if you can just share with everyone who you are, what you do, kind of all things. Share with us your magic.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is June. Many people know me as Ju McKay, and it's just a combination of my first, middle, and last name. And so, what I do is I help women, people of color, change makers, and visionaries find clarity in their message and confidence in their speaking so that they can courageously share their story, grow their business, and most importantly, heal generations before and after them. I believe that entrepreneurship is a sacred act of reclamation and can be this beautiful spiritual path when it is done with the intention of wanting to circulate more good in the world. If we have more good people who are in abundance and have money, then we can allow those resources to flow to the right places.
Yeah, beautiful. I think there's someone with a mic on. If you can put that on mute, I'm trying to mute, I think Laura and Melody. Laura, if you can mute, please. Sorry, I'm trying to do it, but I have June as the host. Thank you. So what are you doing right now to cultivate a thriver mindset during this time?
Yeah, so one of the things that I do want to share is that unlike many of the folks who are on this call, I don't come from a corporate background whatsoever. My whole background is in the arts, activism, community organizing, and social justice. And so I feel like so much of my identity was revolved around the struggle until I was let go from my job as a rape crisis hotline counselor working at an Asian American nonprofit out of all the places. And as a survivor myself, it put a shock into my system. It made me realize that if these institutions are not here to protect me, the ones that were created to protect people like me, then who is left? Who's going to save me from there? And so it was with my unemployment checks where I started investing in personal development, and I got an internship at a pole dancing studio. And for the first time in my life, I felt what it was like to be at home in my body. And so I grew up in a Buddhist household. So I hear everybody talking about meditation and writing, and yes to all of those things. I also want to honor that sitting meditation is not going to be comfortable for everybody, especially if you are somebody who comes from trauma, and it might be very challenging for you to sit still for a long time. And so what I invite all of us to lean into is to joy and pleasure, and most importantly, play. I know for many of you who have children, that's probably a given, but what is it that you can do for yourself? And so I just want to show you what it is my friend just sent me. She asked if I would join her in this hand sanitizer challenge. And so she's having us take pictures next to hand sanitizer bottles and send it out. And I impulsively started this. Oh, my friend tagged me in a shots challenge. And so I took a shot of apple cider vinegar, but nobody knew it was apple cider vinegar till afterward. And people were shocked as if I started drinking heavy alcohol. And then I started tagging people. And then it was so cute to see how this circulated around, just people taking these wellness shots. And so now is a beautiful time to be creative. And something else that I invite us all to imagine, because it is our imaginations that are going to sustain us and allow us to thrive, is to reflect on what is the ancestor? Who is the ancestor you are becoming? If you can imagine yourself as your future badass elder self, how is it that you are going to show up in this moment? And now is not only the time to utilize the tools of technology like Zoom, but to also reclaim the tools that so many of us have neglected as a result of constantly being on the go, go, go.
Mhm.
So that's how I am cultivating my thriver mindset, is just taking more time to play, even if I have limited amount of space. Because otherwise, like many of you, I am a fitness fanatic. I want to be on the beach, rollerblading, and at the gym. And I've been really cranky as a result. But how amazing is it that all you need is the size of a yoga mat in order to rewire your nervous system and come back into alignment and possibilities?
Beautiful. So what actions are you taking right now in your life and or business, or not taking, at this time?
Yeah. So I was so stressed out with all of the plans that I was attached to, launching a podcast, planning my first in-person retreat, planning my first international retreat. Oh my gosh, I got to do my taxes. I'm still a
We're
baby
talking about
entrepreneur.
that. That's
Yeah, I'm a baby entrepreneur, and it's like they say it's like building a plane on the way down, and so it's always something new to learn. And so it sounds really messed up, but yes, I went through the same shock and the grief as everyone else, and I would find myself sleeping in to the point where I felt so guilty about it. Like, I'm supposed to be working, I have multiple launches to prepare for. And then I realized that nobody's paying attention. The world is at a pause right now. Mother Earth is asking us to all put a break on it.
Mhm.
And I know that, yes, our industry is talking a lot about pivot. And I was also having a conversation with another friend where instead of pivoting, what would it look like to expand? And yes, to be fluid and flexible. And so I'm just really grateful that since I've transitioned into entrepreneurship and this online world, that like I feel like I'm apocalypse ready. Not just because of being able to learn how to use these tools of how to communicate,
Mhm.
but also because I've been exploring alternative ways of healing. How is it that our ancestors cared for each other before we relied on these institutions and hospitals? Plant medicine, herbs, and again, like coming back to my body and my breath. So what I'm not doing is rushing and being tied to my expectations and outcomes.
Mhm. Beautiful. I love that. Is there something that you're doing differently?
Yeah, so because I have these wonderful tools in place, I feel like in the past 3 years, I've transitioned community circles. I've chosen to surround myself with people like you, people who are all about envisioning the future and collecting the evidence to get there through our sacred offerings. But now I miss my old friends, and not many of them have ever used a platform like Zoom. And so it's so cool that I'm just like, hey, well, I have a room, and now people are for the first time like, this is what you've been doing this whole time. And so I'm using my tools not just for business, like what many other people said, but to rekindle old friendships and relationships. So
That's
that's been
beautiful.
wonderful.
I love that. I know actually the other weekend we created like a Zoom hangout like with our friend, like just my friends, not like business friends, but like friends. And there's some that actually have never used Zoom. And I was like, oh, like, and we're just so used to people knowing all that.
Yeah, I'm like, this has been my life, y'all.
Yeah.
So usually my partner works outdoors, and when he gets home, I'm like, yes, I'm so ready to go outside. And so now it's like, dang, I gotta stay inside. Uh, but I've done Vipassana, 10-day silent meditation. I don't know if anyone else has, and I feel like even that prepped me for this moment. And it's just like, oh, if any of you were wondering what it's like to retreat and be a monk, now's the opportunity to explore that. If it's on your bucket list, you can accomplish it right now.
What is something that you want to give?
So, what I actually would like to offer to people is, and if you have something to write this with, I would encourage you to uh, maybe utilize this prompt for the next couple of days or however long we're going to be in this transition, but to ask yourself, how will I be contagious? Ooh. And I feel like there's a lot of feelings and emotions that might come up with what that means. And so Jack Canfield, who's a mentor, one of my mentors, says E plus R equals O. I also invite you to write down that equation. And what that stands for is that every event that you experience, event plus reaction equals outcome. Some of you who are on the call have heard this before. So this is an event. Everything that happens in your life is going to be be an event, but the way that you react to it is always going to determine the outcome. So how it is you are showing up in this moment is going to reflect what your life is going to look like, not only 6 months from today, but 6 years from today, 60 years from today. And so if we're asking ourselves, how is it that I want to be contagious? The reason why I mention that is because right now we're having this social distancing. And I think that that's a horrible term to describe what it is they're asking of us to do.
Yeah.
But if this virus is able to, if it only needs 6 feet, what's really trippy is that has anybody here ever heard of heart coherence? So our heart actually emits an electromagnetic frequency that can extend as far out as like 6, 8, 10 feet. This is why monks are able to generate heat in the cold mountains. And so if this virus is that contagious, which it is, then so is your kindness. So how is it that you are going to show up every single day? And what we're learning about technology is that even with us being across the nation from each other, we're still able to connect at this heart level. And with so much of the violence that is happening, like I'd like to believe that this virus is teaching us that we're all equal, but we know that xenophobia is very much alive right now, especially towards Asian Americans. So unfortunately, no one is immune to that. But you can be a part of shifting the frequency and being responsible for how it is you're going to react to the news, to other people who might want to give you those dirty looks, to your family members, because the real revolution actually begins in your home with the people in your direct surrounding. And business-wise, it works the exact same way when it comes to sales conversations. And also now is the time to truly reconnect with the ancestors, not just the ones who came before you, but the ones you are becoming, and the ones and the children who are looking to you as teachers, and for you to also be their students, because they are the ones that are going to turn this around.
Beautiful. What's something that you'd like to receive?
So in connection to all of that, so many of you may know or may not know that I recently did my very first TEDx talk called How to Connect with Your Ancestors. And also, if you feel inclined to, I created a wonderful guide on how it is that you can create an altar because it's going to be very important in these next couple of weeks for you to have a place to return to reground yourself, even if it's the corner of your home or even a mobile altar. And in addition to this gift, I've also created a heart meta meditation. How is it that you can increase your heart coherence, your heart frequency, and also a guided meditation that is here to help align your chakras and connect with your guides and your ancestors. And so I'd love to give that all to you, and to also receive any feedback or any anything that resonates with you with what it is I have to say, because your feedback is a gift.
Beautiful. So you can add that to the Google sheet that I have, as well as if you want to put it here, if you want to put your TEDx talk into the chat so that people can watch it as well. And lastly, what's one action step that you are going to take yourself or that you want to implore others to do?
So my invitation to all of you is to connect with your elders, is to have a conversation with your elders. It does not have to be about this pandemic, is to listen to their stories, because they're hearing all the stories of the media and the fear, and maybe even from loved ones and family members who keep telling them to be careful and to watch out. But there's so much medicine in being able to just listen to somebody's stories and to ask them about their childhood, ask them about moments in their life that brought them joy, and to help our elders also shift their frequency to not be in a place of fear, but in a place of possibility and joys and joy, and to document that. To document that and to document everything that's happening in this moment, and not be attached to an outcome like, oh, I'm going to publish a book, or I'm going to like launch my business as a result of it. Just create without any attachments to outcomes, and share unapologetically, and take up space in the process, and share the stories of your elders too with us.
Beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I love I have an altar. I actually have extended it. It just keeps growing with all the things. Thank you so much, June.
Thank you.
And when everyone is on the chat, I just want to implore you, for the chat, make sure that on the two, you're sending it to all panelists and attendees. That way you can share it with everyone. Beautiful. Thank you so much.